Stock screen, product options. Whenever you sell a product, you may want certain options to be asked by the staff member to the customer. So a good example would be definitely in the hospitality industry. You may sell in a cafe, you may sell a breakfast and ask how do you want your eggs, how do you want your coffee, but it also works well in the retail industry as well. There may be certain upsells or options available to certain products that you might want to come up on the screen whenever it's sold. Okay, so let's talk about how you do the basics of this, and then after that we'll show a more advanced examples afterwards. So starting with the easy one, let's go to Stock Manager. Let's press search there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new product. Okay, so I'm going to create a new product and we're going to call this cup of coffee. Okay, and we'll say it's £2. Press tick. You can select the cup of coffee, and then if you go to options, this is where we would start designing the options that are going to come up for the staff member to ask the customer. Alternatively, you could have also done it on the edit product screen and shown it there as well. Alright, but I'm going to go here. So at the moment I haven't got anything, so I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to create a new folder or new group. So it gives it a name. So we're going to say type of milk, like that. And we're now going to press this button and say add option. So now we would list all the different options for milk. So we'll say no milk would be the first obvious one. And the next one we could say oat. And we could keep going and let's say coconut, almond. You can also press Control and N on the keyboard if you have one to type them in a bit quicker. So soy and regular, that'll do. So this folder is of type single choice. That means you can choose one of any of those, but you do get 4 different choices to choose from. Single choice with quantity, multiple choice, and multiple choice with quantity. I will show you in a minute what they behave like. So we've got a folder there with a group of options. So let's just minimize that and see how it would look. So if I go to find item, coffee, joining the screen, there we go. You can see it comes up asking what type of milk would you like. So you could say no milk, oat, coconut, almond, and if you choose that and press accept, it puts it into the cart. What you might not want though is the type of milk to come up, because it's just going to take up space on the receipt and takes up space on the screen. So to handle that, just click on type of milk and say hide group name. That'll be on the cart, and hide group name on receipts. Definitely want those two turned on. You might also want no milk to be selected first. To do that, just click on this button here and it'll ask for the default quantity to start with. Just choose 1. That means tick. And now as you can see, it's got a little tick next to it. So if we were to go back to here and choose cup of coffee and scroll this back up again, you can see no milk is already selected. But you can still choose a different one if you want to. If we press accept, you only see almond underneath cup of coffee, which is exactly what we want. So that's good. Okay. What else could we do? Well, first you could ask for the type of milk, but we might want to add another group. Okay, and this could be shots of espresso. All right, so I can say, let's add some options. So I'm going to add one option is single shot espresso. And I can add another option and say double shot espresso. Again, this one is a single choice. What we're going to do though is we can click on this button here and say that this costs 50p extra. Tick. But the double shot has a price of £1. Okay, so if you choose either of those two, then it will cost £1.50. Another good one to choose from would be the size. What size would they want? By the way, we can move these up and down by just pressing up and down there. So the size, we've got multiple options here. By the way, you can also add a product as the option as well. So you can link it directly to an existing line of stock. Usually quite a good idea that actually. So we'll say add option and we'll say small, medium, large. You would definitely want to do different prices. So you'd say small, no price, medium, an extra 50p, and large, 75 pence. Like this. Obviously, these aren't real things there. Now, for this, if you click on this button, you can alter all different properties about the options that are within it. Okay, and they filter down to all of them. So if you had something that had, say, 20 options, you don't want to be clicking on every single individual item like this and setting all the different options. So what you do is you just do it against the folder. And if any of the individual options are to have something specific, then you can just click on that and change what it is. So for example, if I click on size and say it's going to have a back color of, say, blue, like that, and I'll give it a text color of white. I could even change its font if I want to as well. They would filter down to all the items underneath as well. So small, medium and large. Right, let's try that out and see if it works. Find item, cup of coffee, move it up. And again, you would want the default to be automatically set on there, just like I did with the no milk. So you could say medium, almond, and a single shot espresso. Accept, and there we go. Again, size, you don't really want the size showing, just hide them. You want small to be pre-selected with 1, that's better. And as for espresso, same thing applies. But I don't want to pre-select any of them because they may not choose to want an extra shot in there. Alright, so that's how you would set up a cup of coffee. If we do something a bit more advanced now, let's create a new product and we'll call it a breakfast. Okay, and this is £6. With a breakfast, things get a bit more complicated. So if we go back to options, let's make that bigger. I could create a new folder group and say extras. And on there, I could add multiple options. So I could say extra sausage, extra bacon, extra egg. Okay. Now, obviously, you would set these to be special prices, or link them to an existing item or product that's already there in your system. So that's fine. So I'm just going to put 50, 60 and 70 there. Perfect. And this is multiple choice. Now you could say multiple choice with quantities as well. So when you click on one of them, it asks how many. Okay, so we'll use multiple choice for the moment just to show you what would happen. Alright, so I'm now going to go find item, breakfast, tick. Oops, it's gone up here again. I'm going to have extra sausage, egg and bacon. And then press accept. And that comes up. Again, we don't want the word extras showing, so I'll turn them off. This is the only item choice at the moment, so you would hide the next button. The next button just jumps down to the next folder group. I could also make this a bit more intricate now by, if I press add folder, I could say egg type. Okay. Now, obviously, I'm going to have different, well, let's put the options in first. So we'll say scrambled, fried, or sunny side up, or something like that. I don't know. Poached. Let's put poached in. That's the word I was looking for. And we'll make the default be fried. So that'll go there. We can also move it up. No problem. But I only want the egg type to show if they've chosen to have an extra egg. Okay? So to do that, I click on egg type, and there's a button here that says conditions. Okay? Up in the top right where it says ready, it tells you what each button does when you hover over it. So I'm going to click on that. And you can have show conditions or hide conditions. So show conditions, it will only show if these are true. Hide conditions means it will always be shown unless any of these conditions are true. So, make this simple, I'll just press add. And we'll say that a option is selected. True. Which one? The extra egg. Tick. That's all you have to do. You can make it more intricate by saying and then something else or and so on. But that's fine, that's okay. So we're going to close that. And let's see how that gets on. So we want to delete all this. Find item. Breakfast. Tick. Excellent. Okay, so you can have an extra sausage, extra bacon. But as soon as I press extra egg, it asks me what type of egg would you like, with the default being fried. So you'd say scrambled or poached. Accept, and that's it. Again, forgot to keep turning off that there. So you don't want egg type to be shown. Okay, I'm now going to talk through what all these buttons actually do. You may not need all of them, you probably don't, but some of them can be quite useful, especially when you're doing a lot of products that have options. Alright, so in terms of the folders, again, you can change its name there. You can change all the properties about the items that were within it. We've just done conditions already. Minimum and maximum. That means if you turn minimum on, how many products have to be selected before you can continue. So it will not let you press accept unless you choose a certain number of items. Okay, so if you said you have to have an extra, say in here, the minimum was 1, you have to choose an extra, but which one? Maximum, you could limit somebody from only having so many of a certain item as well. So it's up to you to use them. Sometimes the minimum and maximum can be the same. So if it's 3 and 3, if you say you have to choose 3 of the options, but you can't choose 2, you can't choose 4. So they are quite useful. This button is a bit more advanced as well. It's for setting, when it comes to printing the receipt, when it's printed out, it will put this folder within another one. So for example, you might want egg type to be underneath extra egg when it's actually printed out on either a prep receipt or anything like that. So you can click on that and choose which folder it should go within as well. If we click on the individual items, again, product as an option, very useful. If the product's already in there, you might want its stock levels to reduce as well. So obviously, if you're choosing extra sausage and you have sausages in stock, you might want to say, link it to the product so that when it's sold, it's deducted. These two buttons, again, very useful, copy and paste. If you've got 2 or more products and you want to just copy all of these into the another product, you can just select both of them, press copy, go to the other product, and then press paste. You can paste as a copy or as a link. Now, a link can be quite useful because it means that if you add more options to one of the products, it adds to all the others as well. So what a lot of people do is they create a fake product called master product. They put all the options in there, all the folders and all the options, and then they just copy them and just paste them as links. So if they ever want to add another type of sauce or another size for the coffee or anything like that, they only have to do it to the master product, and that will then filter down to all the others. Obviously, this one's just moving them up and down. They are fine there. So if we were to click on the option now, you can go up and down again. That's quite straightforward. You can put an image against the product and the buttons. You can change what color should it be. You can put a gradient there. That's why it says back color 2. So from one color to another, there's a gradient. What back color direction, width and height in pixels, and a category multiplier quantity there as well. If you want, you can add an entire category of products. So rather than having to add, say, 20 products, all as options, you can actually just do it once and add an entire category's worth. So you could say add all of the accessories in this case, and when they're put in, they all come up. Let's go back to this one here. If you didn't click add product as an option, you can click it here and link it to a product instead. Alternatively, you can link the option back to a category there if you forgot to do it. We've done this one already, an option price. This one's for the option's cost. So if you want to override its cost, especially if it's not a real product, you can put a cost in there. This button here is the tax rate, so you can specify a tax rate for this product, again, especially if it's not already in the system. You can, when the product is sold, the option's sold and it's not linked to a product, you can specify what category it should belong to. Again, what manufacturer it belongs to as well. If it is linked to a product, turning this button on will use the picture of the product on the button. So you don't have to sit there and specify each and every one. You can just turn that on, and if there's a product linked to that option, it will put its picture on there automatically for you. If you'd like to see how much the product or how much the option is going to be, you can turn that on and it will show the price, especially if it's already connected to a product. So rather than going in and changing the text of how much each one is, just press that and it'll show the price at the end of the name instead. Alternatively, you can show the quantity as well as how many is in stock. So if you've got, say, 20 lasagnas in stock, you may want to see how many you've got left. Options, we just did that for the folder, but we can do it for the option as well. So you can click this and specify certain conditions as to when it should show or when it shouldn't show. So you can see here, if a certain option is selected, if somebody's selected more than a certain number in the group that we're currently in, or a specific group, less than or equal to, specific product is selected, a parent product is selected. So any of those, then it shows. And again, conversely, you can do the hide conditions as well. If the option isn't a real product, you can click on this, and when it's sold, it will deduct the correct fraction off the product. So in an earlier video, we did how you do linked products for composition. So you can actually do the same against options as well. So for example, if I said extra sausage, I might click on here, link it to a parent, 1 and 1, and say take off 1/20th off a bag of sausages, with obviously 20 of them being in the pack. If you turn this box on, whenever that extra sausage is sold, it will ask for a message. So it can be quite useful for certain items when you don't want to have all the options on. You just want it to ask for a message and you hand type one in. If you choose a folder option that includes, so if I just set it to, if I click on that and say multiple choice with quantities or single choice with quantities, whatever you select will ask for the quantity. But you do have the ability to click this button so that only this one option doesn't ask for the quantity. If there's quite a lot of the items in here, you can also filter for them as well. So you can filter, you can collapse them all, expand them all, whatever you need. If you're managing multiple categories and you have multiple screens, what you can also do is click on Edit Product Options there. And this is the breakfast part there. So you could copy, paste, or select the ones you need, but that can stay open while you select other ones. So if I select options 2, you can see there the size, the milk. I could actually copy that and paste it here easily. So that could also be quite useful for dealing with multiple products that are going to have options in. So obviously we don't want that there. We'll delete that one. As a good example of the kind of things that you can do, this particular customer has a very extreme example of what options are available. So if you click on packages, first let's look at what the end result is first. So if you click ultimate package, that's gone on the bottom screen there we go. you can see loads and loads of different balloons here you can choose from. So you see at the top it says minimum 3, maximum 3. That means you click on one, choose 2 of those, but you can even press the button there and say 1 of those. So this particular customer's put pictures on every single option there. Enormous amounts of work's gone into this. And the next button, if you click that, will jump down automatically to the next question to ask the customer. Some of them you just choose and that's fine. Some of them, when you click on them, they come up with different options depending on what you choose. So this is an example of conditions, and we'll have a look at that in a minute behind the scenes. So you can then choose 1 or 2. So this is obviously a single choice option. Table or floor, that doesn't do anything. Sometimes there may be so many options in the list, like you can see here. You can actually put in the search. So if I type in green, all the green ones come up. If I type in blue, all the blue ones come up. So I could choose 2 of those. Again, there's so many different options here to choose from. Next, and it just keeps going on, all these different things. So it's very, very difficult for the staff member to make a mistake because all the options available to them are here. You could also put in barcodes into the search, and that will always also work as well. So if you get a barcode scanner, just scan it and it will come up with the options that satisfy that barcode. Okay, press accept, and that's all you have to do. If I close this, it still puts the product in but doesn't put all the options in. To stop that behavior, press the question mark, edit product, and it's under additional fields, and you can say options compulsory. That will stop people from being able to just close the window if they don't want to fill any of them in. Okay. One last little trick that's worth mentioning. Well, first of all, let's go question mark, edit product, and if we go to options 2, you can see there's quite a lot of folders there, but there is only one option showing, and that is because it's linked to a category. So this particular customer has created a lot of products, linked them all to the same category, but to do the whole thing, all they've had to do is add the whole category as one item and turn on the picture button there, and that's it. So although a lot of work was done, it was done at the product level, not at the options level. Okay, so add confetti, no confetti. So this one here, for example, is a good example of single choice with quantity. All of those have a quantity, but this one doesn't. So if you choose no confetti, it doesn't ask how many. Confetti colour, if you do choose add confetti, then this folder is shown, but it's only shown if you selected it. So you can see it's highlighted where click on that, on the conditions. They've said, if I just make that a bit bigger, a specific product is selected and add confetti is selected as well. So there's 2 conditions on there that have to be satisfied to make confetti colour go up. Some of them have minimums, some of them don't, some of them have maximums, all sorts of different things here. Fonts, a lot of these do have conditions. Again, hide group name on receipts. So this particular customer likes them to be shown in the cart so they can see them, but not shown on the receipts. So again, a lot of work has gone into it, but it really does pay off when it comes to using it and letting the staff member be walked through each stage of the product cycle. One last trick to show is if you go to the sales designer here, like that, if you click on the cart in full edit mode and press customize object, one of the columns that you can add is an edit options button. So you might want to just make that say option, enter a width, say 40, press tick, and then if we redo that on the sales screen, you can see there is now an edit options button. So if you've already put a load of options in there already and you want to go back without having to fill them all back in, just click that button there and it will edit the options that you're already on.